There were a lot of changes to the 24-25 FAFSA.
But don't let this year of change put your college plans on hold.
There's still time.
There's still time.
There's still time.
It's not too late to file the FAFSA and get help paying for college.
KHEAA outreach counselors are available to assist with getting started and getting through the FAFSA.
We're here to help.
We're here to help.
We're here to help.
Contact KHEAA today and take the first step toward achieving your dreams.
Your future is waiting.
Your future is waiting.
Your future is waiting.
Hello, and welcome to, what's the name of this podcast again?
Coffee with
KHEAA. It's been a while. So long we don't even remember the name of our own podcast. Welcome back to episode,
What are you, 14?
I was going to say, I put 13 with a bunch of question marks. Is it 14?
I believe it's 14.
What was episode 13? Zach is checking. We don't know. It's been that long. I thought it was like lucky number 13, the podcast that never was.
But see, I think you said that last time.
Oh,
Maybe
I
dreamed
listened
it.
to them enough. You would think I know. While Zach is looking up the number of podcast this is, what episode it is, we wanted to update you because it has been a while since we've released a podcast. We are alive, barely. Mm-hmm. We have not been fired yet.
They're still processing the paperwork. Yeah.
There's a pink slip of paper on my desk. I just refuse to look at it. I don't know what it is. It is 13.
Oh, my bad.
It is episode
All right.
13.
I told you.
Well, yeah, you did. This morning I'm like, I think it's like the 13, like the episode that never was. Like it's never coming. It is, but it's not been an unlucky summer because the reason why we have left you, the reason why we've abandoned you is because of good things happening. Typically a summer in outreach. Keith, tell me, you have never really lived a summer in management, have you?
No. I mean, I guess last summer.
Yeah. But we were just starting.
Right.
And the Better FAFSA training was happening.
Yeah. So last summer was kind of a out of sorts
unique
kind of summer too. Yeah.
Yes. Typically when you're in the field, a summer in outreach, schools are closed. So it's kind of your time to breathe and reset. It's a little less crazy. It's a little more laid back.
Typically our outreach counselors are out at libraries and community organizations that they may have not been able to go to as much during the school year.
Doing visits, taking vacations. Mm-hmm. In management, it's a little bit different because we're resetting for the year. So we're working on publications and we're working on presentations and getting the state fair together. And so management is not as laid back. But, it's just... it's a break from the norm when it's the summer and not the school year.
Right.
However, in this unprecedented year,
I was about to get you on that one.
Yeah,
I was going to get her.
It is kind of an unprecedented year, but we're not going to talk about that. So in this unprecedented year, as you know, the FAFSA delays and the issues and such, we're down about 15% in Kentucky. Overall in the nation, about 16%. Was that right?
I think so, yeah.
And so the federal government, the Department of Education, by way of a company called ECMC, I'm never going to know what that stands for. I just say ECMC. But by way of this company, had $50 million of grant money to give out to agencies to help close the FAFSA completion gap for the 24-25 year. And Keith and I had never applied for a grant before.
Right.
But, and the turnaround was fast.
Very fast.
Yes. It was I think we met via Zoom one morning.
Yeah.
And we had a 3-hour period where we just wrote a grant, and we had a meeting in the middle of the grant writing
so we had a first half of the grant and a second half finishing it up.
And we literally just worked until our fingers bled, which is
it was kind of like a stream of consciousness, and then we cleaned it up as we went, to make it make sense to someone other than us.
Exactly. Yeah. So we wrote this grant, fast. We got it through the approvals. We submitted it, and we shot for the moon a little bit. Some of our state partners, so other states, were saying to us, ECMC. ECMC is Education Credit Management Corporation. Thank
There
you.
we
I was
go.
like, this says Eastern Michigan. Education Credit Management Corporation.
There you go.
There, I said it. That's going to be the last time I ever say it. ECMC.
Right.
Thank you, Zach. Always with the research. Anyway, so we wrote this grant. We got it approved. And then people around us from other states were like Keith almost immediately left days later, I think, to go to the American College Application Campaign convening in D.C.
It was actually the day that we wrote the grant.
Oh, that's right. You left
Yeah,
and got on a
I had
plane.
a flight. I had a flight that afternoon, which is
That's
part of the reason why
right.
we had to get that thing done
Yes.
quick.
Yes, exactly. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
And people at the convening were saying, like, I don't know, like we asked for $50,000. We asked for $100,000.
Yeah.
We asked for $1 million.
Yeah, I was embarrassed to say anything. I was
Right.
like, "Oh goodness gracious,
We weren't telling
what have we
anybody.
done?"
Right, we weren't telling anybody, but we asked for $1 million in this grant because we knew we could put it to good use. Anyway, we waited, and I know there was one day that I was like, we didn't get it. Like, I'm going to move on with my life. I'm tired of waiting for it. We didn't get it. And Keith was like, hang on, Cassie. Like, I have faith. Like, I think today's the day. And I'm like, today's not the day. We didn't get it. Let's just move on with our lives. And because the timing of the grant and some of the things we wanted to do with the grant, we really couldn't even wait to find out if we got it. We had to launch a program on $0, like a $0 program, in case we didn't get the grant. And so we were about to launch that program that afternoon. We were in Frankfurt. I think I left early because it was the launch of summer reading at our public library. I took my kids, got in the car. I think you were still driving home, maybe.
Yeah, I was.
I got in the car after the summer reading program with my kids. It was like 6:00 at night in Owensboro, and had an email that said, congratulations, you got $977,500. So almost the full $1 million they gave to us. And so we had to like stop the launch of this program because we were like, well, a free program is not going to be nearly as fun as if we tie some money to it. And so the program that we launched were FAFSA boot camps. To date, we have had 2 of those, training a total of nearly 200 people, nearly 200 counselors across the state of Kentucky. Tell them about you talk a little bit. Tell them about the tailgates we're going to do with this money.
Yeah, so anyone who came to one of these boot camp trainings, the way we set it up was it was a full day event here in Frankfurt at the KHEAA office. And, you know, the first half of the day, we did a lot of FAFSA training and just kind of talking through some of the ins and outs of it. The second half, though, we introduced this idea of FAFSA tailgate parties throughout the state of Kentucky. And anyone who attended one of these boot camps would be able to receive a stipend. They'd apply for a stipend to be able to put on these FAFSA tailgate events. And the thought behind it is over the summer, you know, July and early August, schools across the state of Kentucky and organizations across the state of Kentucky would be able to put on these tailgate-like events, similar to what you would see at like a football game or whatever. And it would be based around FAFSA completion. So, you know, the idea would be you would invite your recently graduated seniors, adults, you know, in the community, current college students, anyone who needs to complete a 24-25 FAFSA. These events are going to be able to come in and enjoy some food and festivities, but also more importantly, have plenty of people available to give you solid FAFSA assistance to get to the finish line.
Right. So we basically trained these 200 college access professionals on the FAFSA, on how to host this event. We gave them some money and we said, now go forth in FAFSA. And to date, we have 68 events registered across the state of Kentucky and the other thing is everything is like fast, you know,
very fast.
Everything has to basically happen. We have to spend every penny of this money by August 31st.
Yeah.
And so their events really have to happen in the next month. And so to date, we have 68 registered. We're looking for another 30 to 60 to register in the next week or so. And we're kind of toying with the idea of a third boot camp. We just don't know yet. We're thinking. But we've got a lot of other exciting things planned for this money. Lots of additional hours that our staff is able to work this summer, offering one-on-one help. We opened a FAFSA helpline. Listen, we call it hotline. We call it a FAFSA hotline. And I don't know why, before all the marketing went out, the people on our staff didn't say like hotlines.
Yeah, pump the brakes for a minute.
Yeah, maybe don't call it a hotline, call it a helpline.
Yeah.
So now we refer to it as the helpline, but all
Yeah.
the documents say
Everything officially says hotline.
it all says hotline.
Yeah.
But that's open.
All of
for-
our staff made a comment to me after everything was out in the public. you
Right,
know,
exactly. Like, we are not above reproach. Like, please stop us and say, have you thought about this? Like,
Yeah.
it's a helpline.
Right.
But
Yeah.
that's open from 4:30 to 7:30 Eastern time. 4:30 to 7:30 or 8:30?
4:30 to 8:30.
8:30 Eastern time, Monday through Thursday through August 15th. And we have had a plethora of phone calls. That's a throwback to one of our old podcasts, if you ever listen. We've had a plethora of people calling and getting help. I mean, there was one night that we got like 17 phone calls. We get voicemails all day long, and then our staff calls those people back. So that's been incredibly successful so far. We've got some big plans with some increased FAFSA marketing across the state. And then in the middle of all of this planning boot camps and getting things together and rushing around, we stopped and went to Chicago.
That's right. Yeah.
We were invited to present at the Midwest Higher Education Consortium convening.
Yeah, their FAFSA summit.
Their FAFSA Summit. There you go. Their FAFSA Summit. And so Keith and I went. We took Mackenzie and David, Stephen, and Brandy, so 4 of our staff. We presented on FAFSA supports. We presented on communication plans. So that was a highly successful conference. But Keith and I spent a lot of time stepping out of sessions and working on the FAFSA grant stuff, working on the boot camps, the tailgates, all the things that came with it. And so there was one afternoon we'd been working for many, many hours, and we got an email from a good friend of ours, a colleague. She's actually been on the podcast, Stephanie Dickerson from Kentucky ACAC. And she said, hey, a NACAC grant has come across my desk, and I want to recommend KHEAA because I think you guys could do good work with it. Can you apply for this in the next 30 minutes? And we were like, sure.
Why not?
Why not? So we quickly put our heads together and said, let's pitch something and try to get this money. And so we were able to put together with that, and then we got it, of course. It was $9,500. So with that, we were able to put together a FAFSA Fellows Program where we selected 22 college access professionals across the state of Kentucky. To each one of those FAFSA Fellows will go into their communities, and they will work with, at minimum, 50 students to target those students, contact them, work with them, get their FAFSAs completed and submitted. And at the end of the grant period, at the end of this program, which will be August 9th,
Yep.
we will pay them a stipend of $450 for their work in additional FAFSA completion.
Yeah, so when you think about the reach of these programs, just the FAFSA Fellows Program, if everyone in that program is able to reach 50 plus students in the next month, that's quite the impact on FAFSA completion rates throughout Kentucky. You partner that with what we're doing with the tailgate events and our vision for that over the summer. I'm hoping that we get over 100 of these events throughout Kentucky. And we're really saturating the state with opportunities between all of the in-person events that are coming up, as well as the FAFSA Helpline Hours that our staff is working so hard with. If you live in Kentucky and you have work to do with your FAFSA or whatever you need done to get to the finish line to be able to enroll into college or technical school in the next few months, just know that you have a team of people available in pretty much every single inch of this state. So we're really saturating as much as we can. I did like that you put in that caveat that we got that grant. That would have been very anticlimactic if you're like, we put in all this work, we worked hours. Fortunately, we didn't get it, but we'll see you next time, folks.
But we have 1 million, so it doesn't even matter. No, that's a key that I remember the day that I got the notification that said you've received this NACAC grant, and I sent Keith a text that I said, hey, we got that other grant. We'll wrap our heads around it tomorrow or something like that. And he said, you're getting so spoiled. You didn't even put an exclamation point in that text message, because I was just like, okay, more money. Let's, but I mean, we're so appreciative of the opportunity and being able to really circulate that money back into the people who work so hard across the state. And so we're excited about that program. All of that to say, we have to go. We can't even do a full podcast today because in the midst of all of this, we're also hiring for a couple of outreach positions. And so Keith and I have back-to-back interviews today with outreach candidates, but there's exciting stuff coming for the podcast. So we're really excited next week. Every year in the month of July, we take our staff and we go somewhere kind of not here at the Frankfurt office, just kind of somewhere off the grid. And we spend 2 days just training them and talking about the year ahead and reflecting on the year behind us and really resetting and planning what outreach is going to look like for the next year, in addition to what FAFSA is going to look like in the next year, and just different topics that our staff needs kind of some updating on. And so that training is next week.
Yep.
And we're bringing Zach. And we're so excited. We have basically just adopted him as part of our outreach team. He's really part of communications, but you wouldn't know because we're like, we're going to need you at this event, and we're going to need you here, and we need you to travel with us. I think we're going to take him to NCAN with us. Yep. We're just going to take Zach everywhere we can. So it's going to be fun because he's going to be able to do some filming, and we'll be able to do a recap of the training. We're going to do some fun interviews and some fun social media stuff while we're there. But we're going to do a Coffee with KHEAA recording at the training. And during that, we're going to talk a little bit about the past year that we've had in our management roles because we are officially 1 year in.
Yeah.
Keith and I started our jobs respectively. I think it was July 16th. Does that sound right? Or maybe the 10th?
I don't know. Something like that.
He doesn't know. He doesn't even really work here. But we are 1 year
right.
in to being director and assistant director. And so we're just going to talk about the last year and everything we never expected that these jobs would be that they have been over the last year.
It's been a whirlwind.
It has been a whirlwind. So we're going to talk to you about that in the next episode. And then we're going to come to you live from the Kentucky State Fair. It's going to be our first actual live podcast. Like, they cannot edit out the stupid things I say.
I'm already sweating profusely about this.
We're very excited about that. So we've got some fun things planned for you. We're going to talk a little bit in the coming month about Better FAFSA 1 year in, kind of our experience with that. We're going to continue having guests. We want you to meet everyone on our staff. And so we'll get them behind the camera and ask them questions and make fun of them in front of their faces. And they'll love it because that's just the climate we have here in Outreach. But we will be back, and we will be back with full episodes. But this one, we just wanted to be sure that we came back on and said, we know we went away.
Right. We'll
be back. We're just real stinking busy doing really good work across the state.
Yep. Exciting stuff on the horizon.
That's right. So, as always, thank you for joining us. Tune in again where, I don't know, for all the giggles and all the things. I just need to close it up. Okay. Yeah. All right. And so, until next time, KHEAA later.
Cheers.